Hey Barbie. Hey Barbie. And I'm the Pauper. Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper, released in 2004 and is directed by William Lau, who is also behind such films like Barbie Fairytopia, Glitched, Barbie Fairytopia Mermaidia, Barbie Fairytopia Magic of the Rainbow, and Barbie and the Three Musketeers. He's done other Barbie movies, but I just wanted to stop there because I couldn't stop laughing at the titles of these things. And this film is starring the voices of Kelly Sheridan, Mark Hildreth, Alessandro Giuliani, Ian James Corlett, Catherine Barr, and Martin Short. I had no idea that that was his voice, but now that I've read that, it absolutely makes sense and I can definitely hear it. And I don't even need to see what character he's playing. I know what character he played. He played the meddling old dude who was like, I'm gonna steal the prince and then capture the princess, and that'll force the queen to marry me and all of my fake riches. The man knows how to play his mustache-twirling villains to perfection. And the reason why we're talking about Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a first-time donator on this channel, and they are a co-worker of mine, Fern Gilbert. Thank you very much for the recommendation. I know you've been kidding about this for a while with me, and then you finally made the donation, forcing me to actually watch a Barbie movie going back to 2004, and this wonderful, oh gosh, it brings me back to the days when I would watch Transformers Beast Wars and the boxy CGI animation and how just of the time it was, even though that came out in the 90s and it was still pretty impressive. Here in 2004 though, I feel like the boxy animation is definitely not of the time. There was definitely better CGI that was happening around here, but it did give me a lot of nostalgia, even though I'd never seen any of these Barbie movies. The whole animation style here did make me think of, good old times past in the early 2000s. So thank you very much, Fern, for the recommendation. If anyone else out there also wants to be like Fern and help support me and contribute to this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out just like what I did with Fern here. On the same night in an unpronounced kingdom, a blonde little girl is born into privilege as a princess for the kingdom, and the other one has brown hair and is born basically into indentured servitude. Years later, the blonde princess is about to be married off to a random prince to help the kingdom gain money and stuff, because apparently it's out of that. But the evil meddling Preminger has an evil scheme to kind of force his way into the whole marriage proposal so that he can marry into what he thinks to be the riches of this kingdom and to rule the world. But then through the kidnapping, things go awry. Of course, he has henchmen that are just complete idiots and don't know how to do the whole kidnapping thing. So she manages to escape at some points, meets up with the brown-haired, could-have-been princess, but her parents didn't get down and dirty in the right places person, Pauper, and they sing a couple of songs. And again, the princess goes missing, but because the brown-haired girl looks very much like her, one of the stagehands, I say stagehands in this Broadway show, it's not, but one of the stagehands comes down and is like, hey, you look just like the princess, why don't you stand in for her while we search for her? But if you stand in, no one will know, and we can just go on as business as usual. Basically, William Shakespeare would get a hard-on watching this film if he were alive today. This has everything that he loved to put in all of his plays. We have mistaken identity, we have people dressing up as other people, we have marriages happening, people falling in love in weird places, and there's evil people wanting money. Yes, I am comparing The Princess and the Pauper to a Shakespearean play, but you know what? The elements here are very similar. Though Shakespeare didn't have any hit songs, this film is actually a musical, and the tunes are actually kind of catchy. Don't ask me to learn the songs, don't ask me to tell you which ones were my favorite. I couldn't tell you, they kind of all sounded the same, but you know what? If I was growing up and watching this for the first time when I was 10 or 11, yeah, I'd be dinging on these songs, of course I would. But I touched on it briefly, and we got to talk about it a little bit further here. The animation It's so boxy, and it's so past its time. And I feel like the animators that they got for this film, this is early on in the early stages of the Barbie franchise, movie franchise, direct-to-DVD franchise, I guess. So I would assume the animators that they got to make this film were not the best animators they could possibly get, probably on the cheaper side, but hey, they needed something. They had to put out something to capitalize on all the Barbie propaganda and all the Barbie just fever of the time. I guess, was there Barbie fever back then? I don't know. They have to put out something so that the company can make money. So I'm sure they hired these animators, and I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they've learned from their animation style from then and have gotten better over time, but I would assume that this is early on in their career. The animation here made the animation of The Rock in The Mummy Returns when he showed up at the end as the big Scorpion King monster thing. This film made that look like the Mona Lisa. Like, that's just beautiful compared to the shit that we got in here. Like I said, in Beast Wars Transformers in the mid-90s, hey, this boxy animation definitely worked ahead of its time. Almost 10 years later, in 2004, it's past the expiration date. And also, just like in Shakespeare's time and in Shakespeare's plays, making simple ideas way too complicated in the shows, I feel like the villain's plan in this movie doesn't make sense, because they're planning to wed off Barbie, the bride, the princess, to a king or a lord so that they can combine their kingdoms, combine their riches, and prosper. But his plan is to capture the princess to prevent that from happening. And then the prince gets involved, and then the hand dude, stage hand dude gets involved too. I feel like his plan should have been, hey, capture the prince. Like, kill the prince, lock him away, and then all of the suitors are like, oh, they're like, where are they? We need to marry her off to someone. And then that's when he could come in. And I feel like this whole scheme that he was concocting could have been just a lot simpler and probably would have been successful. But he went the harder route of stealing Barbie, which doesn't make sense to me. Though those plot holes aside and the awful animation, I am enjoying this film, and I'm loving it for what it is, and I'm loving it for the time that it came out. Plus, it had an adorable little kitty cat named Serafina, who is actually a pivotal character in this plot and in this story. She kind of saves the day. I thought she was adorable. I loved her. But then we also got a poodle who's from Brooklyn, but this clearly takes place in a European country of some kind. But here's this poodle, and he's like, hello, kitty cat, how's it going? I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a poodle with a Brooklyn accent before, so hey, there's a first time for everything. In the end, I think this film has its place. It's definitely not for me, but I enjoy the story, and I think anyone growing up, getting involved in the whole Barbie franchise would watch this, listen to all the songs, and have a great time with it. I'm going to give The Princess and the Pauper 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
So guys, if you've seen The Princess and the Pauper, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before, and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell, so you'll know the next time I'm released my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.